Alright, so I'll be doing a initial testing pass on this DSi XL. So let me kind of see what I got here. So this is the initial test. Looks like after I assembled it, I did a battery test. Let me look up my digital notes on this console. Basically seeing, did I leave any notes with it during assembly? Is there any sort of oddities? Anything I fixed? Things of that sort. This is 4068. Bronze console, 4068. Here it is. Shell. Needs new digitizer and bezel, and I think I already did that. Yeah, that looks like... Yeah, that's definitely a third-party digitizer. So I'll just put done on it. Unless there is an issue. I don't know why I would have not amended that note. Motherboard has no known issues. I'll just keep that in mind when I'm doing a touchscreen test. Yeah, I don't know why I would have added that note. Okay, I guess we'll find out. If it fails the touchscreen test, if there's something wrong with the touchscreen, then that would be a problem. I don't know why it would need a new bezel, though. So what I want to do is turn it on. I want to look at the screens. Not horrible. Top screen's definitely more red. I wonder if that shows up a little bit. I'm just wondering if this is bad enough. If this is different enough, I should maybe shop for another bottom screen. Oh, it's like the one thing I hate about working on dual screen consoles is the LCD displays are calibrated differently, or either that or it's like a motherboard level calibration, so it's putting out different voltage to the screens or whatever. And when I assemble these consoles, I get them as close as I can. Sometimes some screens are just so wildly calibrated that I can never find a perfect match. I think I'm going to keep it. I really don't think I'm going to find one any closer than that, because having done screen matchings several times, there's just some screens you can just never match. You just have to go, well, this is about as close as I can get it. It's perfectly serviceable. Like, I would have no problem playing games on it, but on a white screen, it's fairly noticeable. So this one's running 1.4.2U. Okay, I'm going to quickly get 2 one-time tests out of the way. First will be the console's ability to go into sleep. Console shuts off, or screen's black, and the power light breathes in and out. I remove the magnet, turns back on. Perfect. These applications are shuffled in a weird way. I didn't wipe this console, but since it doesn't have any photos on it, I really don't have a reason to. So then for the next test, I'll be doing testing for image retention, excuse me. which I'm going to sit on this screen for about 2 minutes. I need to make a note here. And what I'm going to be looking for is the checkered pattern as well as these giant buttons to see if this transfers to another screen. Now, image retention behaves very similar to like an OLED burn-in. I don't know if it's just because like the LCD, the actual liquid crystals are just starting to fail. They don't refresh as fast, or they just take way too much time to refresh than they should. So this is my method of trying to catch that, and I understand that to be failing displays, but I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty. But if it does show it, I can at least remove it from the console and sort of put it in a pile of screens I can test and play with later to see if I can kind of nail down what's going on. Oh, about another minute or so. All right, let's see what we got. Stand by. I think I may see it. I saw the text of DSI. Let me repeat that test. So I think this top screen. I guess this answers my question of whether or not I need to replace the screens. I think this top screen is bad. Well, I'm glad I performed that test first. But that kind of throws away everything because I'm going to have to redo a battery test if I'm going to put in a new screen. Well, shucky darns. Especially since it's the top screen, I'm going to have to completely pull this entire console apart. So I'll sit for another 2 minutes and see if I can get that DSI to show up. The checkerboard pattern, not so much, but I did like fairly clearly see DSI on the top, which that part of the asset retained. Or that like portion of the screen. Maybe it's just like the edge of the screen. That sucks because top screens are kind of the most important part, as good ones are incredibly hard to source. Probably the most valuable part on this entire console, like hands down. Which is very annoying. And it sort of plays with the idea of the older these consoles get, the harder and harder they're going to be to repair. Until there's just going to be a point to where you just can't. Just a part breaks and either you Frankenstein stuff together like I've been doing or just throw them away. It's a bit of a shame, but thankfully there's still quite a few in circulation that's not going to happen anytime soon. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna show up on camera. You can see DSI on the top. And then that's sort of like something I've been testing is when I do soft resets, you can very clearly see the pattern. Especially on the bottom screen too. I don't recall seeing image retention on the bottom screen. My eye just immediately went up to that text up there. No, the bottom screen's fine. But that top screen's showing signs of image retention. Okay, so that sort of calls this entire test off for this console. I need to replace the top screen. Well, shit. Alright. I don't think I have it in me to do that right now. That is an entire endeavor. But I will do it later. Top screen minor image retention. And then just in bold, replace. So annoying. I'll put this in sort of my parts pile and I'll just have to get to it later. Okay, so let me just make sure I got all my game cards here from all of my testing. Everything looks good. So yeah, I guess I'll just have to call it short end for that console. I'll just have to get to it later.